should we start with Kathy in Tennessee? She's been on for nearly 40 minutes. And so, Kathy, we appreciate you holding on to talk to us. Had to get a lot of info out. It's going to be like this the next couple weeks. We're 2 weeks out from Election Day. But we constantly want to hear from all of you. And we're going to get to as many calls as we can each day to answer your questions and to also get you the best information we can.
Kathy from Tennessee, you're on the air.
Hello, everybody. I'm in question of our vice president running for president. If there is an election interference that we went into with Pence, is this woman going to be the one that stands up there, our vice president who's running for president, to make the decision on who won this vote or the ballot counting? I would be interested in how they're going to handle this.
Yes, I mean, she would certify the victory if it was a victory for her or a victory for President Trump. I don't think, again, that if we're at a point in the country where it was a clear victory for President Trump, there may be other Democrats, and they may be, again, I've told you yesterday that I think the time, and I don't want you really focusing on it too much right now. I don't need you all focusing on it too much right now. You can donate to the ACLJ and kind of not think about it again right now. Is I think the most dangerous time post if Donald Trump wins, and Kathy, I think that's why your call is important, is going to be getting him to Inauguration Day and then getting him a cabinet through the Senate, because you've got to go through those confirmations. So getting him his actual team so you're not being advised by a bureaucracy that we saw try to destroy him, and it's continued to try and destroy him. I mean, let me just use examples like Jack Smith, who come out of the DOJ bureaucracy, these other bureaucrats from around various federal agencies working with political appointees. I mean, we don't have to go too far into that right now. But let's get there. I want to get to that battle. And I want to get to that battle in such a big way, Will, that Harris will have to sit up there. She's not going to be happy about it, but she's going to have to certify a Donald Trump victory, because the American people across the country, including in the battlegrounds, came out in such big numbers to make sure nothing could go wrong, nothing could go weird. It's not going to be over 1,000 votes or 800 votes, and that we are going to know who the president is at least 36 hours after Election Day. I'd be very happy if within 36 hours or less, we know who the next president of the United States is going to be, because I know there's some blue states that are going to hold the voting over for at least till the next day. Pennsylvania is already saying that, and it's really tough to put together a Democrat victory and a Republican victory when you know you've got some votes that are going to still be being counted on the West Coast on Election Day, and especially if Arizona and Nevada are in play. And New Mexico, by the way, where Donald Trump now is only trailing by 3. So if you got those out there, and then the East Coast is still not coming in, that's why I'm saying 36 hours, but let's swarm the vote. I mean, like I think Rick said, swarm the vote. That's why I want you all focused right now. Don't focus on who needs to certify the election victory. Don't focus on post-election day yet. I need all of you to be focusing in on voting and getting out the vote. And then let the attorneys, let the teams, let the campaigns, let us all go to battle. We'll all go to war for 3 months. Okay? But I'd like to go to war not trying to find votes that were like not counted or that were illegal votes, because that's what we tried to do last time. And we were successful. We found votes in places like Pennsylvania that were not counted. 30,000. But that wasn't enough to change the outcome in Pennsylvania. So I want to be doing the opposite. I'd like to be on the other side of that, which is they're trying to find those votes, and we're going in and saying, listen, you may find this, you may find that, but you know what? Those aren't outcome determinative. Shut the vote down. Put the Electoral College down. You know, they're going to put the Electoral College through, certify the electoral votes, and let's move on. And we know what moving on means they're going to try to get rid of the Electoral College if we win this one, and they're going to try to sell you on getting rid of the Electoral College. They're going to run a very nonpartisan sounding campaign about empowering you and empowering your kids in the future and our daughters and our children so that their votes are directly counted. When in fact, it will mean that most of us will live in states that get no attention from Washington, D.C. at all.
That's right. Let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Mary Ellen on line 3 in Illinois. Mary Ellen, you're on Seculo.
Yes, and just following your comments there, Jordan, I had seen an article about these judges, a lot of petitions to judges about these illegible voters, and I see in Arizona, and I'll just read the title here. It says, Federal Judge Sides with Biden DOJ, blocks attempt to remove ineligible voters from rolls ahead of election. And I've seen things like in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And the question is, if that occurs, it's insane, but what's the appeal process here?
Well, those could still be litigated. Most of those are at the entry court level, so they're district court levels. They're still being litigated. We are fighting in Virginia. Virginia's initial decision was the governor cannot have those 6,000 people who are lawful residents. I don't know if they're all permanent, but they're lawfully in Virginia and the United States, but they did mark that they're not citizens. He wanted to remove them from the voting rolls. So one, they didn't get anything that encouraged them to go to vote, and then they would be violating a law. So get them in trouble because that would confuse people, which you could understand. And then two, take them off the voting rolls. So if they did think for some reason they could go vote, when they got to the polling location, they would not be registered. And the person would say, are you a citizen? Have you done that? And then, you know what? It would be very quickly to say, oh, you're not a citizen. You're not able to vote in this election cycle. And that's it. And guess who it was again? It was the DNC, Will. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing also Florida have to file a lawsuit to get that information from the Biden-Harris administration. The ACLJ is filing in Virginia, and I think will be filing in Florida as well. I know it feels like we only got 2 weeks. You can do a lot in court in 2 weeks. You named all those other states. Listen, Democrats are being pretty open about it, aren't they, Mary Ellen, right? The truth is, they're filing, whether it's the DNC or Biden-Harris, they're filing to try and keep as many people on the voter rolls as possible so that it's very difficult after the election to then go through those votes and determine which ones shouldn't have actually gone through the system if they were technically on the voter rolls. What are those election workers supposed to do if they see somebody on the voter rolls? That's really all they can do.
And Mario, we're not going to have time to get to your call, but I'll read your question so we can answer it really quickly. He wanted to say, if they allow the illegal immigrants to remain on the voter rolls, what will that do to our government long term? If you extrapolate that out, does it mean that non-citizens could hold office?